How are you? Now, did you go through the previous lesson on criticism? I gave you an introductory topic. What is meant by criticism? How can you be a better critic? And what all the fundamental stages by which you can go through the criticism? Now we enter to MC modern criticism, topic number 2. Topic number 2. We go to topic number 2. Now today we plan to discuss function. Function of criticism. Function of criticism. Actually, this is to be done in the introductory level, but we again to enter to the modern criticism, we make a slow journey. So I introduced what was criticism, how you can criticize, and what is its objective. Now we go to the what is its real function. The first function you can keep in mind. It is not to murder anybody. It is not try to spoil others. We criticize a piece of literature because in order to modify it, in order to find so many other methods of enjoyment. So a piece of literature, for example, you take a piece of poem, which is to be appreciated. The method by which you can appreciate, whether it's figure of speeches, whether it's a rhyme scheme, whether it's difficult areas to be combined, so many areas of criticism available, like figure of speeches kept there, like rhyme scheme kept there, like content matter, subject matter kept there, what is the real central theme of the poem, so many aspects are available. So all these areas to be approached by a critic through the function of criticism. What is called? First point of function is interpretation and judgment. So interpretation, interpretation, judgment. You have to make a judgment. You have to make a judgment on the topic. So function of criticism, point number 1 that you keep in mind, it gives an opportunity for interpreting things. Interpretation. What I told you about the picture drawn by the master in the class in the earlier topic? Interpretations, different possibilities. Different practical awareness of the readers that related to this topic is in this way like that. So we keep different interpretations, and finally we come to judgment. So that is called the first function is interpretation and judgment. The chief another matter is our chief duty is exposition. What is meant by exposition? All these are the points to keep in the notebook about which we plan to prepare notes. If possible, I will give you notes in your group later. But these points you have to keep. Once we enter to the main topic of romantic critics, then what is called Victorian critics, all these points to be kept in your mind to approach them. Then only things will be easy for you to encounter. So criticism is a piece of knowledge that you enjoy in the maximum. So it's a chief duty is to call exposition. What is meant by expose the character and the subject. Then another, you write value of value of the poet or writer. You feel a value of the poet. And next step you try to do in the function, penetrate to the heart of work. Penetrate to the heart of work. Means what? You have to make a deep journey inside of the work written by the writer. And after making a journey through these steps, through the function, you will reach what? Analyze its beauty. All right. Analysis of its beauty. All right. Look. The function of the criticism and all these steps, it makes the real beauty of the work to be appreciated. All right. So, inductive method we follow. All right. Modern criticism nowadays developed very much. All right. Because all the pieces of literature related to the life piece of experience. That is why majority of the writings we find, just like we go to the romantic poets, now we go to the Victorian poets, they gave much importance for the subjectivity. Subjectivity means what? Their own experiences. They will feel, they will give their own experiences. So we can enjoy once we penetrated, once we get inside the deeply into the work of the writer, we will feel an enjoyment. That is called literature really interprets life. Literature really interprets life. What is literature? Literature is life. What is life? Life is literature. Right? From the beginning, that is why we call, it is right from the beginning that just like what do you call, dew of a water we create. And we slowly, during the course of life, we slowly go and reaches the big ocean. As if a writer says, everybody's life is like a dew of mist or dew of water vapor. It brings with crystal clarity and slowly, course of time of almost span of life, what you call 100 years, probably. Nowadays, very difficult to get 100 years, but still we expect 100 years of life experience. Slowly, reaching the big ocean, there finishes. Means that big dew of vapor, mist to vapor, now comes the part of the water. When it goes like. So what I mean, literature stands for life. And life is like, during the time of, you have studied Socrates, Aristotle, what do you call Plato? This Socrates time, I have experienced in one of the writings. Socrates, during the time of his imprisonment, Socrates, being a literary student, graduate, you please read some books. Then you will get a lot of horizons of knowledge, where you will get a lot of experiences, where you will make a journey to different world. Socrates being a special character. No, the writer says Socrates during his imprisonment, and he knows thoroughly, 100% sure, but the following day, next day, he will be killed because of his lot of faults and mistakes. And the authorities plan to kill him by the way of poisoning. It is written, poison. And the authorities of the prison reported to Socrates, okay, tomorrow by 10 o'clock you will be executed. All right. The method of what is called the operating, the modus operandi. Modus operandi is a technical word, means the method of operation to kill you, to give you a cup of poison. Then you drink, you will fall down. All right. Socrates does not answer anything. Socrates keeps a silence. And writer says, silence is a bigger sword than the words of his mind. And what happens? By 2-3 hours later, the neighboring person on the next prison area, all right, he sings a very beautiful song in a violin. And he was also going to be executed. All right. But Socrates called this waiter, the steward of the prison, all right, inquired who is now singing a song with a violin there. The steward reported, he is the neighbor prisoner. All right, he is going to be punished later on. Then Socrates wanted, ask him to come to my prison area and let him sing a song. I want to listen a beautiful song. Why? It would pacify all the thunderbolts of my hesitations and apprehensions tomorrow. That is not. So music is really food of love, as if Shakespeare puts in Twelfth Night. Music is food of life. Love, like that. Let him come. And the writer says, the people who enjoy music and dancing during the time of celebration is okay. But the man who is utterly failed, going to face a death, wants to be enjoyed in music. That is something extraordinary. All right, getting music during the time of listening music and enjoying the music during the time of thinking about a death is something extraordinary. No easy person, simple person can do that. Only very person who is intellectual enough can enjoy music or dancing during the time of sadness. This is the special case. Like that, once you go through the real system of real methods of the writer's writing experience, all right, then you will really enjoy the real beauty of the piece of literature. That is what I mean. So let you be a Socrates during the time of criticism, during the time of learning a piece of literature, and try to criticize it. So during the function of criticism, modern critics developed in this way. Life really is interpreted in literature. Criticism itself, even the criticism itself is called literature. We use criticism as a tool. We use criticism as an instrument to make an assessment of the writing by the writer. But some people say criticism itself is a literature. Even from Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, then Horace, so many others, even from reaching different centuries, from modern literature, we call John Dryden, Renaissance breed, then Age of Reason. So many people started, and they have provided even so many treatises on criticism, which are considered to be literature. Means what? Criticism itself is literature. Criticism, we have seen the literature function and criticism function. But in the modern times, criticism itself is called literature. Dramatic poesy, lyrical ballads, then biographia, literaria, all these are coming for the future. Traditional and individual talent, all these are the critical studies deliberately written by the writers, and they are considered to be pieces of literature. So means what? Criticism itself is called literature. Now, study criticism as a literature means then you consider who is really a good critic. All right. All these are the introductory part to entry to our modern criticism. Good critic. Who will be a good critic? Who will be a good critic? Which qualities you need to attribute a critic? Who is really a critic? First point you keep in mind. Suppose you want to be a critic, keep in mind you should be very intellectual. Only intellectual people. What is intelligence? Intelligence in IQ. This intelligence is what is called Thomas Alva Edison puts in his biography, intelligence is 99% is perspiration, 1% is inspiration. Perspiration means what? Work hard. You have to work hard 99%. Only 1% God will give you. 99 plus 1%, 100% you will be IQ. You will have IQ. Means what? Intelligence. So, you want to be a critic? Means you should be intellectual. First point, intellectual. First point, intellectual. Alright? Intellectual. Okay, first point is intellectual. You should be intellectual. Second point, you should be mentally alert. Alright, all these are taken from Clean the Brook. Alright, mentally alert. You should be ready to face any criticism because you are a critic. And you should have flexible and keen, knowledge. Flexible and keen insight. They ask. Point number. Once you want to be a critic, all these stepping stones to be kept in mind. Never prejudiced. Very important point. Never prejudiced. Never means what? You should not criticize a writer keeping something bad against him in your mind. So never prejudice. So all these points will be enough to get. Suppose in the Viva exam, experts asking you, who could be a critic? A critic could be by these steps. Once he should be intellectual, should be mentally alert, then flexible in keen insight, then never to be prejudiced. He should have a natural gift. What? To criticize. Natural gift. Natural gift to criticize. Education, he should have knowledge. The technical way W.H. Hudson points out in his history of criticism. Background to history of criticism. W.H. Hudson says a critic should have erudition and scholarship. Erudition means maximum knowledge. Erudition means knowledge. A simple man cannot be easily a critic. He should have knowledge. He should have erudition. Erudition means he should have scholarship. Without scholarship, he cannot become a critic, real critic. So, erudition and earliest literature, European literature, all these areas he should have kept in mind. So, being a good critic, he should make a history. He should read and go through the history of real criticism, from where it starts. Must have a training in this discipline. He should get a training. Training needed. Because many areas are available in the field of criticism. So, he should have a training. Just like how to identify figure of speeches, how you can scan a piece of poem, how you can skim. There are so many methods of finding figure of speeches. So, a real critic, in the way of appreciating piece of literature, he should have a training. If there is no training, very difficult to criticize. The other point, a critic, all these you copy down in the notebook. The other way, historical aspects once you change. Historical aspects. For literature, find some historical aspects. from Socrates, Aristotle, what do you call Plato, like that coming later. Then you come to 15th, 16th century, 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, 20th and 21st century. All these century-based critics' names, from there, the selected best critics' books you have to keep in mind. All right, 19th century, comparative study of criticism needed. 19th century, Macaulay, a great Macaulay called in Pilgrim Progress, a wonderful work. Style is real perfection. Stafford Brooke says, it delight the villager and the scholar. Pilgrim Progress. 19th century Macaulay writer says Pilgrim Progress is a wonderful work. It was really enjoyed by the scholar as well as a common man. Means what? In that multifaceted way, the writer has presented Pilgrim Progress. So once a piece of poem or piece of literature written, it should be applicable not only to the scholarly people, but even to the village people. Literature life is interconnected, a gradual shifting of judgment. Dr. Johnson defended Alexander Pope in 1756. This is somewhat historical aspects come. All right, Dr. Johnson says, if Pope be not a poet, what Pope? Alexander Pope. No, so many beautiful poems had been written by Alexander Pope. One poem which I studied, that was in 8th grade by Alexander Pope. I do remember my teacher teaches Alexander Pope's poem. Means what? Even now being during this age, I cannot easily forget my teacher. I cannot easily forget Alexander Pope's that poem. Out of almost 50 years, I still remember, half century over, I still remember that poem because of its beauty, because of its content, because of the manner in which my teacher taught me. I never forget neither my teacher nor the poem. Even in my age now, I do remember when I listen to Alexander Pope, he says a beautiful poem which is having only 10 to 12 lines. Its name is Solitude. Once you get opportunity, you just search in the internet, in your internet or YouTube. Then take this poem, very beautiful poem, which never makes me forget because its beauty. Its solitude means silence and calmness, where the poet wants to transport himself from his native village to another village. Probably during our summer vacation, we go to our mama's or papa's house and stay 2 months there. And in my childhood, I used to go like that. So during the vacation time, we will stay with my uncles or mama's brother's house and spend 2 months there. During the reopening time, school reopening, we will come to the house. Like that, Alexander Pope, during the time of the vacation, probably might have gone to another village where mama's village or grandmother's house and stays there 2 months. And one experience is, in his house he experienced, by the method of his metaphysical thinking or his spiritual thinking, he in his sleep goes to another world where he reaches an island like Robinson Crusoe. He reaches an island where nobody is there and he tries to make a house there. He brings all beings which are useful to daily life. He has taken 2, 3 to 5 beans, everything vegetables he kept in the nearby the house. And besides, whatever things he needed for a man to live in that particular island, he was living. And what is the more to say? he brought a small calf, all right, brought the calf enough to get up. Then later what happened? Later, whenever he needs to, that part may be reminding me about the poem. Once in the morning, in the early morning sleeping time, Alexander Pope says, he is going. He is not time to make a cup of tea because he is the only man living in the island. He goes, and even what is the matter of making milk and water and boiling in the tea powder? Let me drink milk myself. He is lying under the cowshed and sleeping and drinking the milk himself. What a beautiful poem it is written by Pope. What I should say, the method by my teacher taught me, the method the critics thought about this poem, what all the areas, the beauty which attracted me there, which made me never forget this poem. This is the real beauty of, just like what we have seen so many cinemas we see. Do we remember all the cinemas? No. We remember certain cinemas which attracted. So many characters will be there which would attract us to the maximum. We never forget. Even from the childhood, I can never forget certain films which I saw even during my this age time. So, beauty means what? That is also philosophical. Beauty is nothing. The word beauty itself, we say beauty of the poem. We say beauty of the literature. We say beauty of the drama. We say beauty of the language. What is the beauty? Beauty is a concept, first point. Because you are studying literature and criticism. What is beauty? Beauty can be defined as an object or a concept that would attract you most. It is not my word. It is a definition given by C.E.M. Joad, a philosopher. C.E.M. Joad, on his essay on civilization, he says, what is the beauty? Beauty only a concept. What is the concept of beauty? That object, that person who attracts you best. If there is no attraction, no beauty is there. That is philosophy. In the way that if Alexander Pope's solitude attracted me because it had a beauty. Wordsworth's Solitary Reaper, which attracts me because that poem which I studied in 9th grade, you also might have studied. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, cutting and binding the grain, singing a melancholy strain. I studied in 9th grade, I never forget. Because of its beauty, behold her single in the field. She is single in the field. A paddy field is kept there. Just like a cold field in our neighborhood. People, and that girl was single. Solitary reaper, solitary, lonely reaper, cutting girl. We never forget. Because of its beauty, beauty attracts. Solitary reaper attracts us much. Behold her single in the field. The first line starts like, behold, you look. Behold her single, only single. Almost a 16 to 18 years old girl, now in the field single. Not in our Uttarendia, Hathros-like area. That was in Hampstead, in England. He was writing about so many beautiful things in the nature. And we are going to enter into that. Wordsworth is a topic we are coming to deal with. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass. Lass, girl, lass, behold her single, yon solitary highland lass. What is she doing? She is cutting the grain, cutting and binding the grain, binding, cutting, kettuga. All right, look. Wordsworth did not find a solitary girl in the 12-storied building flat in the Cochin. All right. She was not living she was not a solitary girl in the newly constructed flat, but she was in the field. Why? The beauty of the field is much attracted for the poet, and he was writing pieces of literature, pieces of beauty, selected and collected from the field. Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, cutting and binding the grain, singing a melancholy strain. She was singing a song which was sad enough, melancholy, sad enough. Poet, by the way of exposition, telling all the readers that this girl is, though single in the field, though working, has what? Sad strain. She was singing, all right, very sad music. The music is not comprehensible to the poet, not to the reader, for which so many subjects are carrying by the next stanzas. But the first stanza itself attracts your attention much, and we never forget that poem even though we studied in our childhood. That is the beauty of the literature. That is the beauty of the literature that you should enjoy. That is what I referred. Honey of a beautiful flower. Honey of the beautiful flower you are searching, not petals and braids and other leaves of the flower that you reach, but you reach honey inside. Then drink and drink and drink and drink and enjoy. This is a good critic has to do. So historically, if the people want to do that, so slowly we reach to what is called modern criticism. Where we find modern criticism, it starts by really during the time of Renaissance. Our syllabus is related to romantic revivals. So in order to study Wordsworth, in order to study S.T. Coleridge, in order to study tradition in the individual talent, we have to start from one more century back from Wordsworth. Means that area is called Age of Reason. This Age of Reason to be understood, what is called age of your classical age, what is called classical age. This classical age to be covered, then after covering classical age, which is not given in the syllabus for us, but we start by W.B. Wordsworth. W.W. mean Wordsworth, then lyrical ballads, and then it goes like that. But in order to jump to Wordsworth lyrical ballads, we have to taste some fundamental areas of Age of Reason, what is called classical age, where Alexander Pope, John Dryden, all these people are there, what they have done. After that we jump to Wordsworth, then go to Coleridge, then go to Matthew Arnold, then go to T.S. Eliot. Then we will cover all these areas. So by next class I will search some areas of Renaissance, some areas of Age of Reason, then go to 18th century, what is specially meant for our syllabus. Till that moment, goodbye. Thank you very much.